principal responsibility of every government at every level, federal, state, or local, is the protection of lives and properties of the people. And whatever government fails in that responsibility needs to sit back and re-strategize, not exactly leave, because as long as the constitution allows you to occupy the office you're occupying, then you have to find a way to fix the problems you promised to fix while you were campaigning. Well, on the course of the week, we all saw that the Minister of Defense states and immediate past governor of Zamfara State, Bello Matawalle, and the Chief of Defense Staff are relocated to Sokoto State to combat banditry. Let's see how much that would help in securing the lives and properties of Nigerians, especially from that axis. It's been from one tale of killings upon killings. Overnight, I was monitoring the situation in Plateau State. Probably towards the end of the show, we'll have the Commissioner for Information join us. A village was attacked overnight. It was an attack that went from about 6:20 p.m. down to the middle of the night, and a lot of people were reportedly killed. On the plateau again, one killing too many. From Sokoto to Katsina to Borno, it is one problem to the other. So you ask again, if the government cannot protect the people, if they cannot fight banditry, if they cannot fight insurgents, if they cannot fight armed robbers, if they cannot fight, petrol smugglers, if they cannot do any of these things, then what happens to billions of security votes that these governments are getting? What happens to all of the budgets, being put aside for intelligence gathering, to buy equipment, to increase or improve the welfare of the men on the field? There's just been a whole lot. Look at the mess of, whether and how much vehicle got stuck. You should know the terrain you are going to operate. You should know operational guidelines. You should know, which of the vehicles are suitable for those places. What happens to intelligence gathering? What happens to intelligence sharing? Do we even have any synergy within all of the service chiefs? If we do, it's been one tale too many. Destructions, killings, devastating, heartbreak to Nigerians everywhere. I think the government holds the responsibility of being accountable, especially when it comes to the issue of public trust. I've always said it. Public office is not a space for you to enrich yourself. It is a privilege. Choosing one out of millions of people that can do better than you are. It is an opportunity to tell the people that, hey, I am not the best amongst you, but I'm good enough to give you quality leadership, to drive dividends of democracy down to the people. Welcome to Midweek Politics, live on Mainland 98.3 FM. This program comes up on the airwaves every Wednesdays from 1 to 3 p.m. And this is not the only space would, open for you to join the conversation. We'll always start from the big one, the big masquerade, 6 to 8 p.m. every Sunday, political roundtable. Said Fuad and his league of elite analysts would always give you political conversation beyond what you can imagine. And of course, from 4 to 5:30 p.m. every Mondays to Fridays, we'd invite you to join us in the Situation Room to have conversation around leadership, politics, policies, governance, and everything that affect our daily existence as a people, especially as we constantly demand for dividends of democracy from the people that swore to protect us and from the people that we voted into office. And on Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m., we take the conversation beyond what you get to hear from the news, your news outlets, newspaper, your radio, your TV. We give you every single details you need to know about every single story we focus on. And today is not different. We take you on a whole new level. And I don't get to do this alone. I have two gentlemen that understand the politics of radio business. I would always drive this conversation together at the side for her. There's also Victor Achibong. So it's always my pleasure to have us. And then it is even more important to us that you're listening to us on the other side, because without you, we're just here making noise. If you don't get the message, if we don't keep you stuck on Mainland FM, then we should fold up and go home. Side forward, it's another beautiful Wednesday afternoon. And, this morning when we're putting all of the topics together, there were about 40 topics that we could have picked from. And I said, okay, let's see how we can squeeze all of this together in about 3 or 4 conversations so that we'd allow the people to, from the regulatory agencies, the allegations of standard or no substandard, the allegations of witch hunting, cabal is fighting back. The Dangote refinery released its first set of premium motor spirits to the public. And I watched that whole process. I watched the interview and I had this nostalgic feeling that if a private individual can put commitment into setting up a refinery, side for all, I was reading something about the refinery that as at the time the refinery was in under construction, there were about 220 cranes that were working at the site simultaneously. That made it the largest construction site in the entire world as at that time. $20 billion of investment. I mean, that's like what you can put down. There's so many other monies that probably will be able to account for. But after everything, we got Dangote supplied PMS in the market. And we're hoping that after 6 postponements, the Port Harcourt refinery would also come upstream in September. I mean, this is when NNPC Limited have finally told us. It started off from August last year to November, to December, to January, to March, to August. Now it is September. Side forward, I'm sure you followed the whole conversation around the Dangote refinery. I'm not even talking about it being a game changer, but the fact that that project could see the light of day. How did that make you feel about the endless possibilities that exist in this countryside, forward?
Well, as a Nigerian, at least one of those few moments in recent time when you have to feel proud. As a Nigerian, feel proud that, look, there's nothing impossible really, if, as a people, we decide to put our minds into doing something, we can always get it done. Also felt proud because, again, it shows that, look, as a Nigerian, we have the potentials, we have the capacity, we have the resources, and we can always pull things like that through if we're committed and intentional about doing whatever we want to do. Interestingly, I'm very familiar with that particular site. It's a location I'm familiar with, even before anything called a refinery was, conceived for that location. It was, before then you had a freight trade zone. And every other thing around that area until Dangote decided to move the project from Ogun State to Lagos State, and that location became the choice location for that particular project. And while the construction was ongoing, because of my own involvement with real estate, it was a location I visited severally as that construction was going on. You have situations where sometimes things are being brought in to be fixed in the refinery, and then you have to wait. If you are driving, you have to wait on the road for those things to move out of the road. Heavy duty equipment, big facilities, tanks. So the enormity, how big the project was. If you have visited at a location, you really understand that it's not a small thing.
Charles play.
For those that already know, the entire land on which the Dangote refinery is built is almost ×3 the size of the entire Victoria Island. So it's a massive project, a massive project. And I think all we can say is to say congratulations to Alhaji Aliko Dangote. Again, here was a man who had said that one of the biggest motivations for him to build his own refinery was when he bought one of the state-owned refineries and the contract was revoked. It was taken from him. On that moment, he said that, look, I'm going to build my own refinery. Here is also a man against all of the advice, counsel from friends who had told him that, look,
don't try this.
Don't do this.
Don't try this at home. It's high risk.
High risk. He said, look, I'm going to do this, and now he has done it.
It looked like a mission impossible.
Now it's possible. Against all odds too. From the back and forth from the regulator NNPCL, the challenge of getting crude oil, he has now been able to show the world what the refinery can do. The product in itself has shocked a lot of Nigerians who are almost like, is this actually petrol or water? He's talking about his Hero Vision level diesel too, the quality of the diesel.
I have a video on my phone side for I saw the quality of that. I mean,
the product itself.
And I'm like, because somebody
Mm.
asked him yesterday, and he said, I think one of the journalists, and he said, the quality, and he said, now any mechanic that tells you that your engine problem came from petrol, then it is not Dangote product. That Dangote product that they are putting out is world-class quality.
Less than 10 mph.
Yes.
That's the sulfur
whether
content.
the Jet A1, the PMS, the diesel, everything is world standard and top quality.
You know, and I also listened to Mr. Edwin, DVK, his right-hand man, who also took media persons to the laboratory. And he's saying that, look, this is currently the best laboratory in the world.
The entire world.
To test for the quality of petroleum products. So, whether we like it or not, this should make us proud as Nigerians, as a Nigerian, that we've been able to pull this through. Well, other conversations around pricing.
Let's leave that one
for now.
I want to say, first, let me appreciate some Nigerians, wherever you're listening from. Good afternoon to you. And of course, this is Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3. My name is Victor Achibong. So, yes, indeed, it's a huge victory for Nigerians. And I think the dream of one man finally has come to play or come to reality, owing to the fact that, yes, like you did say, Said Fuad, it's a massive project. And finally, we can say of a truth that we have one of the best products. If I'm listening to Aliko Dangote yesterday as well, he said it and he could beat his chest anywhere, that this is one of the best products you can find anywhere in the world. But then, while Nigerians were still celebrating, less than 24 hours, as Nigerians were celebrating, that achievement from Aliko Dangote and the Dangote refinery, we heard that the price of fuel, according to NNPC, that is supposed to be the main regulator, has increased the price from 600 naira to 897 naira across NNPC filling stations. Some are saying it's 855, but the truth of the matter is that this indeed has cut short the reality of the day, which is finally the Dangote refinery will begin and can begin to sell PMS to Nigerians. Let's not forget, he has said it, that he's still waiting for approval from the NNPC as well as the Federal Executive Council. But then, come to think of it, with the announcement being made, yet we have not got any official statement coming from the NNPC as regards this change in price. We've seen several reactions. And one of the reactions we are getting is coming from the Nigerian Labour Congress. I think we should go into the conversation properly now. Because the Nigerian Labour Congress has come out to say that they feel betrayed by the federal government. They had a gentleman agreement. They had a conversation sometimes ago, I think about 2 months ago or thereabout, where the federal government of Nigeria eventually agreed on paying Nigerians the minimum wage of 70,000. And let's not forget that according to the Nigerian Labour Congress, they believe that this country has the capacity of paying every laborer in Nigeria $1 million naira. It shifted away from there to 700,000 naira. It shifted away from there to 600,000, 500,000, 250,000, and eventually they agreed on 70,000 naira. Now, according to what they are saying, they said that based on the agreement they had, Said Fuad, that the federal government categorically gave them the assurance that there will be no increase in the price of fuel anytime sooner. But what we have today, immediately the Dangote refinery announced that the PMS has been produced, and anytime from now, 24 hours, 48 hours, waiting for approval coming from the NNPC and the Federal Executive Council, that Nigerians will begin to buy, motorists will begin to enjoy these particular products. But with what the NLC is saying, do you think that Nigerians can go ahead in trusting the Nigerian Labour Congress? This is the angle I want to bring this conversation to or from now. That can Nigerians trust the Nigerian Labour Congress going forward with this exposure that I've just made, that there was an agreement with the federal government of Nigeria that the price of fuel will not change, will not be tampered with at any time. But let's not forget, these people are representing some group of people. The tripartite committee that was set up sometimes in January, and of course, with the old drama, dragging it back and forth and all of that, eventually we are coming to this. The NSC is saying that they feel betrayed. Can Nigeria trust them?
Well, the issue of trust is too big a word for me when it comes to the NLC really, because if you say trust in what regard really? Is it trust to be able to force the government to bring down the price of petroleum products? Is it trust to be able to really fight for the interest
to be
of
true
their
representation
members?
of Nigerians?
Now, this is the issue. They are saying they have an agreement. Was it just a gentleman agreement? Was it a written signed agreement? Was it documented? It would be nice to know what kind of agreement they had with the government. Was it just that, when 70,000 agreed, they had tea, drank coffee, and everybody
they took picture and everybody smiled?
If that's the agreement they are talking about, then
there's no agreement.
They are better wake up from their slumber. It's just a waste of time. And this is the reality, Victor. Because again, as at now, I don't know whether it will change tomorrow. Okwemi, the NNPC is still telling you that officially they are not aware that prices of petroleum motor spirit, PMS, has changed. That's the official position.
And we have a lot of filling station from the NNPC.
The spokesperson of the NNPC, Shode, has told you that I'm not aware of any change. The NNPC retail outlets, the company that is in charge of the retail outlet of the NNPC, they are even saying that they don't know. They are not aware of any price change. The Minister of State for Petroleum, Mr. Enike Nokubiri's statement as at yesterday, and I don't think it has changed, is that they are not aware of any price change. As at yesterday, I don't think that anything has changed as we are speaking.
Officially,
the Dangote refinery has not fixed its price. When he was asked during the media briefing,
he said they will take the unit for further executive council meeting.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not in the country, so the FEC meeting has not been able to sit. And he said it's going to be within the FEC, Dangote Refinery, and
NNPC Limited.
The NNPCL Limited. So now that FEC has not been able to meet, it means that there's still no official price for Dangote's PMS products. So if the Labour Congress is saying they are betrayed, if they meet the government, say, we are not aware.
Betrayed with what?
With what exactly? I'm coming. Wait. We are trying to build the conversation.
That's
now, what is the NLC supposed to do? What's supposed to be the response of the NLC now? Because again, they are going to meet. They are saying they are going to meet. Of course, they call for a reversal of the prices. But the guys who are supposed to answer questions as to the change in prices of petroleum products that we're seeing now are saying they are not aware. The NNPC say they don't know anything. What was it called? The minister is saying the government has not done anything. Dangote is saying that yes, I've started rolling out my products, but we've not fixed prices.
I'm waiting for NNPC and then the FEC.
And I think that if you watched Alhaji Aliko Dangote yesterday, it looked a bit troubled. If you are someone that studies body language, yes, he was so happy to have gone through all of the challenges, the battle, to eventually.
But look, it's not worth it.
But it's almost like, the product is out. And when he was asked about pricing, you saw him in the voice.
His countenance changed.
His countenance changed, and then I'm going to wait for the FEC. Honestly, it's only God that can explain what's going on between the Dangote refinery, the NNPC, and the federal government. There seems to be a lot going on at the back end that Nigerians don't know about. That's number one. So for the NLC, because we have, I think, less than 20% Nigerians who are members of the Nigerian Labour Congress, really. Even the 70,000 naira you're talking about, what's going to be the impact if the price of fuel has not changed? Because how many Nigerians really are on the 70,000 naira minimum wage radar? What about more than 70% Nigerians who don't earn anything from government, who take care of themselves, who run businesses? So I think we have to be careful to think that whatever negotiation the NLC got
will have an umbrella effect.
No. So if I'm not going to be.
There are families that don't have civil servants
who run private businesses, and they are more than the people who are people in the public service. So we should. The only reason why NLC would be important to Nigerians at this time is their capacity to be able to mobilize Nigerians to resist what has happened, if they are able to do it. That would be the only resistance, the only relevance. If they like, they should go and negotiate.
Would Nigerians want to go with that, even that capacity you just said that they still have?
No, it depends. What I'm saying is that for Nigerians who may also be troubled by what has just happened, who are not happy with what has happened, the only reason why they'll be looking into the NLC for any relevance is, maybe they are going to have the capacity to mobilize Nigerians, create dissenting voices enough that will now make the government to look at this thing again and then drop the prices of petroleum product. But again, that's almost going to be difficult.
I have a fear,
Yes.
side forward, and I hope that this will be sorted. About a year ago,
Yes.
a friend of mine has a musical studio in Ghana. He's a musical producer, and he told me that the owner of the entire building is a Nigerian that's into oil, and we just got talking, and he said that 80% of petrol that they consume in Ghana was brought in from Nigeria. That because they cannot increase the price in Ghana, they've been buying it for approximately 1,300 naira per liter. So the people bringing in that, they were buying it as almost 600, 500 from, they were making money, but now they can't make money again because to get it into Ghana is almost 1,300 naira. So you cannot come to Ghana and come and say, this is how much I want to sell. You have to sell at government price. Have we worked on that? What is the assurance, side forward, that if NNPC that said they want to be the sole buyer for now, if they lift from Dangote refinery in Lagos, it is not going to Niger, it is not going to Chad, it is not going to Sao Tome, it is not going to Cameroon, it is not going to Ghana, it is not going to Benin Republic. Is that not something we should be worried about or start talking about, side forward?
Well, again, when we talk about the need for openness, transparency, and all of that, that's exactly what we're also saying. First and foremost, when it comes to the issue of smuggling of petroleum products, it shouldn't be the reason why Nigerians have to go through this pain and suffering.
But that's what it is.
But that's what it is, really, because again, why do we have our customs people? Why do we have our people at our border posts?
How do you tell me that over 2,000 tankers leave this country daily?
And for people who don't know what the issue, we are not talking about smuggling in jerry cans. We are talking about tankers leaving the country.
It's not like cats that is disappearing.
So it should tell you that, and that's why we keep saying that a problem. First thing is responsibility to fix a problem.
We face it.
The people are made to bear the pain of the failure of government. Because people say smuggling and see smuggling. Yes, if you live at the border post, there are some small smuggling that happens with jerry cans and all of that.
Just crossing, push
But
out.
we are talking about tankers living in thousands
daily,
leaving the country. Are they be taken away by ghosts and spirits? They take our land borders? Because I'm not sure these tankers. So the question is, what is the government doing about that? That's number one. So you can't, on the basis of the failure of government to fix the problem, now want to punish everybody. Oh, because of that. That's number two, Okwemi. As we speak, the last time out that the NNPCL eventually came out open to agree that subsidy was still ongoing. They called it different name under recovery, that the president sometime last year told them to use a weighted average rate, which was basically to peg the price of dollars that will now be used to import fuel. And eventually the landing cost was around 1,150, but they are working with half of the price. So of course, taking care of the shortfall and all of that, So whatever name you call it, they eventually agreed for the fact that, look, they were still subsidizing. Oh, we're not paying it to marketers, but you were paying it to some people at the end of the day, because the simple definition of subsidy is that, look, this is the price you're supposed to be buying. The fact that you are buying at this price means you are taking care
Something is being
of.
done.
So let's, all of those. But this is the question, Okwemi. As at the time we were doing more of importation of petroleum products into the country, PMS particularly now, the calculation from the NNPC, Okwemi, was that the landing costs, that when you put everything together, the money you pay to your suppliers, the logistics to bring it from the vessel, and then it lands in the country, was amounting, and then it gets to the retail outlets, was amounting to around 1,150, 1,002.
You had 1,000.
So at that point where we're buying for 585, 600 with the major marketers and NNPS stations, they were taking half of the cost, of Nigerians. So this is the question, Okwemi. They were doing all of that to the point where just last week they now admitted
they are owing over
$6.8 billion to their suppliers, and at that time they were cash strapped to the point where they have not been able to pay their suppliers. This debt is not a 1 month, 2 month, 3 months old debt. From the report, since last year December, the NNPCL had not been able to pay suppliers, and that was what amounted to about $6.8 billion. So that's what they've done. That's the operations. Remember, they told us, we have been recovering our costs. So, but the truth came out that they recovered nothing. The truth also came out that the idea of subsidy is gone, that happened on May 29, 2023, was just a mirage. It didn't happen, really. Because at the point when we're doing it, a dollar was around 750 naira to a dollar. And at the same time, we had a twin policy implementation of floating the naira that took the dollars to over 1,000 naira. We are dealing with about 1,500, 1,600 naira. So the two policies automatically made a complete nonsense of the idea of removing subsidy. Subsidy removal at the point where there was no local production capacity to mitigate the effect of landing costs and the other things that was going to come from it. Now, the same Dangote that you had accused about a month ago was looking for monopoly. Oh, he's just lamenting. When the man said that, look, I was hoping that this issue of crude supply to me was going to be something seamless. That was the template. That was what I was working with. That was why I decided to build this refinery against all of the other counsel from my friends not to do it. I thought that, look, this supply of crude oil would have come very easy because of the, the benefit that would happen to other Nigerians. Of course, you came out to say, oh, the man has just been lamenting. He doesn't know what he's saying. He told us about the Malta thing that, look, the NNPCL officials with some of their collaborators are happy to always bring in refined petroleum products. And what they do is take the product, take it to a blending plant in Malta and still bring it in, cashing out on the misery of Nigerians. You shut him up by saying, oh, no, he just wants a monopoly. And for energy security of the country, you can't create a monopoly for one man.
But what are you doing now?
I'm coming. We are getting there. And we're not talking about junior officials of the NNPCL or its regulator.
Top
officials make it. This was just about a month ago, it's not like a 1 year old statement. So now the man still waiting for you to implement the sale of crude oil in naira to him. Let me remember again that when we were told that the government was going to do 20% of the Dangote refinery, the idea was to do $1 billion in cash, which they did. We took the 7.2%. The other was supposed to be in crude supply. That was supposed to amount to about $1.7 billion. The thinking of Alhaji Aliko Dangote at that time was that, oh, I'm ready to give 20% off, $1 billion in cash, which is good for me, $1.7 billion in crude oil supply. It would have led to him having enough crude supply locally, at least for like 6 or 8 months. So there would have been that stability. But the same NNPCL, in an attempt to frustrate him, reneged on that agreement, only for them to tell us that, oh, instead of doing that, they invested the money in CNG. Whereas we were not supposed to give money, it was supposed to be crude oil supply. Because again, when we tie these things together, you understand that we are dealing with people who are very comfortable to lie to us, deceive us, get you, there's a way you begin to look at the thing, I'm like, who are these guys we're dealing with? You've done all of that. The man, you remember Dangote said, look, I've been going to US, I've gone to Brazil, I've had to even get to Libya. He's looking for crude oil, and somehow the man has been able to beat all of those challenges. The product is now ready, the most important product to Nigerians. You can see that the NNPC didn't hijack diesel from Dangote. They never hijacked Jet A1 from him. Because he's been producing diesel
since January.
They didn't bother. In fact, it's diesel. They say it's a useless one. It's not good. The quality is bad. They didn't bother with Jet A1. The one that they know touches the ordinary people. The one that Nigerians have been waiting for. The man now did everything possible. Only for you to now say, no, now only us you go sell them to. And I'm telling you.
So what changed the monopolies conversation about a month ago?
A month ago. Just a month ago. What has changed? What does the NNPCL intend to achieve?
What do they have against Nigerians? I think we should be direct to these questions. What exactly does the NNPC Limited have against Nigerians?
And that's why Ipman is saying that, hey, they are shocked. Because do you know that a lot of marketers have licenses to import petrol into the country, but they can't import because they don't have access to Forex. It's not good business for them to now look for Forex. But NNPCL is able to import because, of course, they are selling crude, so they have some access to what?
To Forex.
To Forex. But we have even seen that, look, they've been doing all manner of corner to the point where we thought that they have the capacity to import.
But they actually don't.
Because they've been owing.
So is this a ploy?
We're coming. Let's build it. Just recently, too. Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, His Royal Majesty, the Emir of Kano, asked a very pertinent question. NNPC, where are our dollars? Where is the dollars? Why is that the NNPCL is not able to make dollars, make enough earnings for Nigerians? Or if you say we've been subsidizing, you've been recovering your cost, you've been selling crude, right? To take care of the shortfall, fine. But how did you get to the point where you are owing up to $6.8 billion? Okwemi? Who are we owing? How did you get to the point where you could not pay your credit?
We are owing ourselves.
So you see. So if you aggregate everything, Okwemi, the man who brought out his PMS, God knows what would have gone on. We don't know what the discussion they had with themselves. Ipman had been waiting. In fact, those ones have been projected. If you remember, there was a time Ipman projected for Dangote Refinery and said, look, he's probably going to be selling at 650 naira. And then Dangote Refinery issued a statement saying
that we did not have any position.
Position. It was going to be at international rate. In fact, I heard at the time when the former Minister of Finance under President Buhari said that the Dangote Refinery, when it fully comes into operation, would be selling at international rates.
I don't wait. Now they have not been able to fix their own refinery.
They've not been fixed by that time. That was before then.
Just wait. Just hold on, Victor. This is the issue for me, and we can continue to deceive ourselves. The question is, what are the indices for? Because again, we don't have any pricing from Dangote Refinery. That's what they are telling us. Okay, but look at the coincidence. While we are waiting for Dangote to tell us his own price, the NNPCL, the Onigbe's NNPCL that we have, the lying NNPCL that we have, the deceitful NNPCL that we have, the corrupt, extremely corrupt NNPCL that we have, left his basic that they can't deal with, and then went to the man and say, although we insulted you before, but we are the only one that will now do this. Obviously, I saw a lot of political correctness in the statement of Alhaji Aliko Dangote. Of course, he's still hoping to get some favor, quote and unquote, now from the NNPCL and the government when it comes to crude supply. So he can't fight them. Okay.
Because they own the commodity.
And he knows that, look, it still pays him to get the commodity locally.
From home.
So
because there's no landing cost, there's no
you
clearance
can see
fees.
that in his political correctness, he started by first praising the president. He took special
time to, not for the president. He even specially praised the Lagos State governor as well.
Because he's still waiting to get crude supply in Naira.
Let his Owo first.
We understand. But at the end of the day, it would have been nice to ask the NNPCL, why are you not leaving this to competition? People have said, oh, if you allow Dangote, why are you speaking for? Let him talk. Let him bring it down to 2,000 naira per liter.
Yes.
And then let Nigerians ask him questions.
Why? There's no landing cost. Why?
Let's
There's no clearance cost. Why? There's no cargo charges. Why?
Look, who is fixing prices for Dangote sugar? Is anybody fixing prices for Dangote cement?
For spaghetti?
For Dangote spaghetti. Why this one?
What exactly is the interest? What does the NNPC have against the people of Nigeria?
So if you look at the whole thing, and this has happened, and then before you knew it, you say you are owing. People are changing prices on NNPCL sales outlets, and you are telling us you are not aware. You are not
fixing price.
Okay, as we speak, all these two range, you know they are now.
There is 868 naira, and I have a video. One of the biggest outlets.
Okay, that's the big outlets. If you are going to buy now from the independent market,
it's
1,000 and above.
It's 1,100.
That is in the urban centers.
So what happened to the outskirts, to the rural areas? What happened to
Kurumi in Taraba State, to Donga in Taraba State, to Mutumbiu somewhere in the far north? Okay, where you probably do 100 kilometers for you to see one
fuel station.
So if you aggregate all of that, you understand that we have a serious problem. We have serious questions to ask the managers of the country at this time. And unfortunately, these are people who can no longer trust because of the years of lying to Nigerians. Look at where we are now, Victor.
It's a bad place.
I think we have to move away from this conversation. We have a whole lot that we still have to cover. But then we're talking about the Nigerian Labour Congress speaking on the fuel price increase, where they said that they feel betrayed by the federal government.
The NLC people should go and do what they want to do. Nigerians, look.
Well,
no matter what anybody,
I still believe that in spite of their capacity,
one of the first things I said when they were negotiating for the minimum wage is that, look, and people really forget these things. I said, look, one of the things they have to do, the NLC leadership and organized labor generally, with this particular government, is to put on their thinking cap.
Otherwise, because the man you're dealing with He's miles ahead of
Yoruba.
You.
I mean, in the street, Yoruba will say, you know what it means? You
For the benefit of us who don't understand it.
Your parents will tell you what it means. So I'm not. You see, the thing is, you have to be smart. Okay, now let us even work with the 70,000 naira minimum wage. Okay, what has happened to public transport now? The cost of public transport.
Well, we have a conversation around there.
Sidefar, you saw my status.
I'm seeing your post.
Yesterday.
The best thing to do is to do as if I have not seen it.
But the thing will show that you've seen it. But the message was passed.
Well, if not, you ask me that, I will tell you I have not been seeing it.
Right.
It's crazy. It's not only from you. I've been seeing a lot of Nigerians lamenting.
Side forward, I almost cried yesterday, Victor. You needed to see how people were trekking home yesterday. Yeah. Somebody told one of my transport guys this morning that he had to wait for over 2 hours at the bus stop to get a bus that would take him for the price he could afford. People were trekking home. Well, let's leave that conversation.
NNPC petrol stations across Nigeria increased their pump price from about 600 to 897. We're waiting to get an official statement from them, even though they have not said anything. The Minister of Petroleum himself has not said anything as regards that. But then, Okoyemi, take us through the next story, please.
Well, I said something at the start of this program, and one of the things I said was, the principal responsibility of every government at every level, federal, state, local, is the protection of lives and properties of the people that voted into office, and even those that did not vote into office. I mean, people have the choice, the right to make their political decisions. But as long as you stay within the sovereign of this country, you deserve to be protected by the government, irrespective of your political affiliation, religious sentiment, or tribal, whatever it is. This responsibility has been on a constant failure level with every single government, from Jonathan's administration to late Mɪᴅ-ᴜᴇᴇᴅ Yar'Adua, to Jonathan, to a retired general that we thought was going to solve some of our security problems for 8 years. He moved around, he did the best he could. He told us the things he could do that he would not do. Now we're here on Tinubu. And if you follow the news, Victor, the last 1 month had been series of bloodbath, series of unimaginable killings. We may think because we're in the southwest, it's far from home. It is the northeast's problem. It is the north central's problem. It is the northwest problem. They can deal with that problem. It is coming home closer than we'd ever imagine. Did we not see how traditional rulers were kidnapped and killed in Ekiti State? Have we not seen cases of kidnappings in Ogun State? Even in these are Lagos. It's a problem. Well, the federal government has vowed to flush out bandits. As the Minister of State for Defense, the Side Forward and Victor. And I've had to ask myself, how did you come up with these people? How did you do it? A governor that could not secure his state? Let me break your heart. Zamfara State is not dealing with insurgents. They are dealing with bandits, almost like the headquarters of bandits in this country as we speak. And it's so crazy. I thought someone recently, I said Nigeria Republic should be like the 37 states in Nigeria. Because Nigeria Republic is bordering like 8 or 10 different states within the northeast and the northwest. I was watching an interview very recently. The former chairman House Committee on Terrorism, Banditry, and other related offenses, Zakafi, I've forgotten his name. He talked about the fact that 85% of the bandits that they are dealing with, they are Nigerians. That nobody should deceive us that they are not Nigerians. That in fact, in line of their oversight functions and their duties, they know these people's grandfathers. They know their fathers, they know their houses, they know the people that are aiding and abetting them, but they report to the government and the government is not doing anything. Side forward, this is not the first time we are getting instructions that service chiefs have been told to go to the heart of the operation. And yesterday, the chief of the defense staff and the Minister of State for Defense, both of them arrived Sokoto, and they said the operation is very clear to flush out the bandits. Victor,
banditry activity.
It is unfortunate that we're not even struggling with insurgents anymore now. It is a full-fledged war of bandits against the state. Side forward, I mean, The federal government yesterday, through the Minister of Defense, vowed to flush out bandits and other criminal gangs terrorizing the Northwest in compliance with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's directive to troops of Operation Joint Aḍarɪndaji. Aḍarɪndaji means that Operation Clear the Destruction in the Forest, something like that. But we've seen this happen before. We've seen where a president arrived the country from health medical tourism, and they asked him at the airport. He said, "I gave instruction to the chief of army staff to move. I don't know if he has moved." Now, the chief of defense staff and the minister of state for defense have moved to Sokoto. Side forward, does this in any way give you hope that would find some form of solution to the menace that is going on in the northwest and the northeast and the north central of Nigeria?
All right. They arrived in Sokoto yesterday.
And it was fun fair. They've told the bandit that we have come and fight us.
Ready for you.
I think
People that are miles, that are years ahead of you.
I think the Minister of State was also dressed
It was
in
dressed.
camouflage.
White,
That
looking
to show
fresh.
and he had his walking
Yeah.
stick. I'm like, you are talking about Sokoto State. Niger State has known no peace. Most parts of Niger State, where these bandits are operating. Just last week, we reported that 13 farmers were slaughtered for giving information to security operatives. So while they were landing in Sokoto State yesterday, 34 villagers were being killed in Yobe State by the same so-called bandits.
And about 17 are still counting were also killed in Dakob, a village
Meanwhile,
in Plateau State.
There were other reports that said over 100 persons were killed in Yobe actually, but the official figure was 34, and they've been given mass burial. So is it a Sokoto thing? Yes, Sokoto suddenly became the epicenter. Sokoto has known some peace, relative peace,
Relatively.
but suddenly it just started again. And if you look at the trajectory of PME, you know that these guys are moving around. Because, before Niger, you talk about Kaduna, they move
Go to Benue,
so it's
go
almost
to
like there's a
Zamfara.
movement. And everything is within the north central, northwestern part of the country. Nothing so much of the northeastern part, because, again, one of the recent things we've gotten from the northeast has been the re-emergence of insurgency. But when it comes to banditry and these kidnappings that comes with it, it's more of the northwest and the north central part.
Blossom under his
him
administration
as a
in
governor.
Zamfara.
And
Non-state actors were mining side
and
forward.
under him, it was reported that a known terrorist, a wanted,
Was
stop banned
banned.
The band.
under him.
A wanted terrorist was
So
banned.
he's landing in Sokoto with the chief of
Defense staff,
General Christopher Musa. Would hope. We can only hope and pray for them that at least it will stop. And it cannot just be a Sokoto matter. If from Sokoto, they should touch on Kaduna, they should touch on Katsina. Look at what is currently happening in Yobe. Also look at Niger. So they have a lot of work to do, really. And it's not just about the Minister of State for Defense now, or even the service chiefs. Where is the IG of police in this conversation? Where is the National Security Advisor in this conversation? I talked about changing the NIA director and the DSS. And I said that, look, the changing of personnel will amount to nothing if the situation on ground does not change. Because people have asked the question, is it about the killings going on? Some people said, oh, it was the failure of intelligence on the hashtag end bad governance protest. So just the protest is the reason. Because it was a protest against government. Look, this guy should have been fired long time ago with the level of insecurity we have in the country. The killings, the banditry, kidnappings we have. So if they were not qualified for firing, with all of the killings we've had of Nigerians. So what necessitated, according to reports, because of protests against government, they were due for firing. So we now have to ask ourselves, how committed is the government really to solving this problem of insecurity? We have do you know why I'm now very, very much afraid? I think recently we got the report that the Nigerian military is now in talks and also having some working relationship with the junta in Niger. We decided to eat the humble pie. Because at the end of the day, the question would have been, have we now recognized that military junta?
Because we don't have a choice. Those ones have sent all of their bad boys into the country.
And I said it, that look, we need to pay attention to what is happening in Niger. Because if you just do what you're doing with them, you don't care what happens to them, you're not working with them. What they will do is to open their borders to the bad guys.
Yes, go on.
So now we are now working with them. But the issue again is this, Okpeyemi. Luckily, I've spoken to Shegumi. You've always spoken with him. And he keeps telling us that, look, the way our security operatives are currently structured, he's not sure we have the capacity to deal with this problem. Yes, people are going to argue with Okoyemi, but the reports we are getting, does it show that we have the capacity to deal with what we have now? Okoyemi, as a journalist, I decided to engage a top security operative in the Nigerian military cycle. And he said that, look, one of the challenges they have now is the motivation of our soldiers. That morale is down. That these guys are not as motivated to fight.
Side forward, how would morale not be down? Let me give you an instance. Where I was coming from, I'm more like the media attached to my media for joint task force. So anytime they are going to, parade suspected bandits or insurgents that they arrest, I always go with them. We were going to Southern Kaduna one day, and when we left the military base, they told us that as we're going to a particular village where a mass burial of almost about, I think, 86 people happened a day before, they told us that we should maintain the single line that everybody is following. So I asked, when we got there, when we got back to the base, I asked them, I said, why? They said both left and right had landmines. I told myself, I said,
wow.
Yeah,
you just passed. So
it's crazy.
This guy was telling me that look, how much are they paying the soldiers? That he had just returned from the northwest to the south, and like a lot of his colleagues, guys are not really motivated. It's not really about weapons. I think over the weekend, this last weekend, there are these videos circulating of some bandits who have taken over 2 AMP, armored personnel carriers. I think they burnt it down.
There was a statement to that. They said they denied that the AMPs got stuck. And I'm like, do you know the terrain you're going to?
But
don't you know what is
even if they got stuck, but you abandoned them.
Yes.
For the terrorists to take over.
They said they disarmed it and then they had to run.
But somehow something happened, and you saw these guys. Broad daylight, jumping, with their guns. And every time I see videos like that, it just comes to mind, how can we really solve this problem?
Let me read the story for you. In Yobe, at least 80 people have died and several still missing after an attack by Boko Haram jihadists in the northwest states of Yobe. It said around 150 suspected Boko Haram terrorists armed with rifles and RPGs attacked the Mafa ward on more than 50 motorcycles around 4 p.m. on Sunday. That was what Abdulkarim Dungus, the Yobe State Police spokesperson, said. He said they killed many people and burnt many houses and shops. We're yet to ascertain the actual number of those killed. But based on the fact that they don't know yet, there's been mass burial conducted on 80 people already. But they're not sure because others are still missing. 4 p.m. broad daylight.
Now, because it's the northwest, people are still doubting whether these are Boko Haram insurgents, really, because the identity of the insurgents. They said
the reason was that it was a revenge attack on the village for the killing of 2 Boko Haram terrorists by the vigilantes from that village.
Yes.
So they killed 2 Boko Haram terrorists, and then they came to revenge, and they killed over 80 and still counting.
Okay, whether we like it or not, this is the story of Nigeria at this time. And I think one of the persons that should begin to tell Nigerians whether he really has the capacity to deliver on the job he's been given to by the president is the NSA, National Security Advisor. Because whether we like it or not, he's supposed to be the one coordinating
all of the operations of the service chiefs, getting report and briefing Mr.
NIA,
President.
The DSS, the army, everybody, because you are the National Security Advisor. It's called the National Security Advisor. Because you are supposed to brief and debrief the president on the security situation in the country. So, and it's not just being an advisor, you must understand the operations. So, very unfortunate where we find ourselves, Okoyemi, and it is not just in the north. As we speak, even in the southeast, there are situations. I think there's a report this morning that a police station was also attacked somewhere in the east. We're also seeing videos of IPOB,
overrunning formations and
even in the southwest here, we have our own fair share of troubles. There are kidnappings and all of these little things in different parts of the country. So that's also one issue. My fear now is this: the fuel situation is going to aggravate poverty in the land. Okay, this fuel situation. If there was hardship before, that people are pointing towards the reason why we have this insurgency, apart from the issue of, look, whether you look at it from any angle, you can't have this level of hardship without a corresponding level of insecurity.
True.
It's just what it is, really.
True.
It's just what it is. A lot of these guys, if you look at them. Of course, here they are financiers, they have the big guys, but a lot of them have decided to join the bad gangs because they look at themselves in the society as nothing to hold on to.
And then somebody would kidnap a traditional ruler and make a profit of 60 million. Side for what business can you do in this country?
So they tell these guys that look,
come here. You don't need training. Just know how to carry
as we speak
AK-47.
Even the police, I think the IG of police recently said that he was willing to release about 2,000 something Nigerians who are still being held by kidnappers. That's the official figure. There could be more than that. We have a medical doctor, Dr. Ganiat Popola. He's been there
over 8 months.
Since December.
The National Association of Resident Doctors are on strike now, protesting a kidnap. So, 8 months he's not been rescued.
And that's a situation that we know. That's one that we know about. We have situations in the country where people are being kidnapped. They'll
pay ransom and they still kill them. People don't even some of them even just go pay,
get their people out of the kidnappers, then and move on. A traditional ruler, a district head somewhere in the north was killed. The son was
and
released.
They spent almost 4 weeks to negotiate.
These things are painful to discuss. Yes,
we'll leave this conversation real quick. We'll go into the whole, tracing charges against the protesters. How much of a threat that is to democracy. Victor will lead us into that conversation. But Said, let me ask you. For me to upload a 4-minute video on YouTube is a problem. Side forward. But you will see bandits uploading 13-minute video on social media.
30 minutes.
25-minute videos showing loads of cash as they collected as ransom payment. You see them releasing video insulting the president, calling the bluff of the security agencies that this is where we are. We are not even covering our faces anymore. Come and fight us. Come and meet us. Is this a failure of intelligence gathering, side forward, or a failure of implementation of intelligence that we gathered? You talked about the National Security Advisor. If you look at the budget of the National Intelligence Office in this country, it's almost × of the Ministry of Education. Go and check how much money the office of the
money that goes into
NSA is getting into defense alone. But if we say we have all of these things and people spend 1 month negotiating and making calls to families of victims, people upload videos of 25 minutes, 18 minutes, side forward. Why is it difficult?
People are
but
getting
you can
ransom
clamp down the accounts of supposed sympathizers to protesters. You can track someone that bought a stolen phone and arrest him, even when the phone is off. You can use findable. But you cannot track someone that is uploading 20-minute video. You cannot track someone that is making calls and negotiating with families of victims. What happens to the NIMC? What happens to the NIN? What happens to the SIM cards that we registered? What happens to all of this inside for? Is there a political conspiracy against what we're going through in this country?
Well, again, political conspiracy, would have to go round and round and round trying to unravel really if there's any conspiracy anywhere. But there's one that we're sure of. There's something that we're sure of. There seems to be a situation where we are lacking the political will to do the right thing. Really. There's one thing about capacity, question of how intentional are you about solving the problem.
One step to another.
For one step enough to help you make your strategy work.
Awards upon awards upon awards. Why?
Very pops of government as we're bringing, I think, taking him to Abuja. I've forgotten the name of the guy. This very popular kidnapping. What's to that case? I remember that DME Saka would always ask the question, where is this person? I will try and remember you. I'm sure you get out the name now. Where a known kidnapper, a terrorist, was eventually apprehended by the police. It was said that soldiers, we keep saying these things, we talk about it, we gloss over an insecurity when he was governor. He's not in charge of we are in a place where we need to tell ourselves, is it a failed, hopeless situation? Is there hope going to come? Where will the hope come from now? Where will the solution come from? Because it's painful. It requires a lot of emotional intelligence, emotional balancing to wake up every day talking about these things over and over and over. It's gotten better with insecurity in the country. The economy, the same story.
We could talk about this, but the truth is that Nigerians still ask for more questions and more answers. As we speak to you, during the era of President Muhammadu Buhari, 38 military planes were brought into this country. Of course, remember the Tucano jets and so many others. And during this time as well, we We also have on record that over 12 trillion naira was spent on security. And by the time he left office in 2023, do the math, somewhere around 14 trillion naira spent on security. Now, this current administration as well, with the current budget, 3.5 trillion, earmarked for security to gather every intelligence, military, police, and even paramilitary. Well, we will hope to see if at the end of the day, the relocation of the Minister of Defense, as well as the Chief of Defense Staff and others going down to Sokoto State will indeed yield anything positive as regards security situation in this country. We'll leave that conversation and we go to another security conversation. Anyway, but this time around, it has to do with protesters being charged with treason. And this is making human rights activists, the senior advocate of Nigeria, talking about Mɪᴅ-ᴜᴇᴇ coming out to fault the treason charges that has been, hammered on protesters during the end or the hashtag end bad governance protests that happened in this country, for those of you still remember, in August. But Mɪᴅ-ᴜᴇᴇ, the renowned human rights lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, has condemned the increasing use, that's the word he actually put it like, the increasing use of treason charges against protesters in this country. Now, he spoke at a 2-day International Anti-Corruption and Climate Change Conference in Abuja on Tuesday. Don't forget that on Monday, the federal government of Nigeria arraigned 10 leaders and organizers. The protesters who have been accused of treason, among other charges, appeared before Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Now, coming down to this conversation, side forward, it appears like you don't have a right to protest anymore. Constitutionally, we know it is the right of Nigerians. When things are not going your way,
you ask questions.
You definitely need to ask questions. When you request for something and you're getting something else, you ask questions. And sometimes ago we saw it, even it is there, that Nigerians all over came together to fight hunger, to make a statement against hunger, to make a statement against bad governance, requesting for good governance, because this is not what we bargained for. Whether from this current administration to the past administration, or even from the time of President Goodluck Jonathan, Nigerians have been asking questions. Because I still remember very well, vividly, that somebody like Senator Adams Oshiomhole, stood his ground several times and asked the government of then questions. And today we know where he is. There was never a time that is like any other person who stood with him by that period, was charged for treason. And when you talk about treason, of course, it is a capital offense. But protest, which is constitutional, except in situations where you have other clauses. Yes, there are clauses that if it goes beyond, definitely the law will come to take its full course. But now we have a situation where protesters are being charged with treason. And this has made the like of Mɪᴅ-ᴜᴇᴇ to come out to say that the consistent use of the word treason is uncalled for. And this is making Nigerians at international level, because he said it, at international level, he has had calls and he's still getting calls that what exactly is going on? What exactly is happening to the government of the day? I'm going to take it from this angle, side forward. Is this looking more like a desperation or a desperate move by the government to ensure that Nigerians do not have a say, or Nigerians not even come out to ask questions or demand for good governance? Because as a government, just like Okpayemi said, it is the responsibility of any government of any day to ensure that it gives the people good governance or good governments. But is this looking like the government is doing everything within its whims and caprices to ensure that Nigerians do not even make a statement, even when things are not looking good? Come to think of it, inflationary rates in this country is on the high. People cannot buy food. And we just talked about the issue or the case of the price of fuel that has increased. So automatically expect things to increase. The price of food, transportation is also going to increase. The basic necessities of life, people cannot get it anymore because of the increment that we are getting. And when you talk, you are charged for treason. Is this a form of desperation, side forward?
Well, at least I think the last time, apart from in recent time, we saw protesters being taken to court or maybe any arrangement to answer questions on treason. Protesters, I think it was during the military era. That was when we last saw protesters being arrested and being charged for treason.
Treason is a major offense in any country.
You could have situations where protesters are arrested, charged for
disturbance of public peace and this and that.
But when you say treason,
you are plotting to.
And that's why to show you how big the word treason is, the punishment that comes with it is capital. It's death by hanging. So, and the last time we saw anything like that, you remember the Ogoni 9, for example. They were charged for treason. That was why they were hanged.
Yes.
And what were they protesting against?
Degradation of their
community environment. Government do something about it. And Ogoni 9. On that basis, during the Abacha era, were arrested, charged for treason, and to tell
kangaroo military court, by the way.
And what have you? And then they were all hanged. That's the punishment that comes with treason. And the last time we saw such a very terrible thing happen to ordinary Nigerians who are demanding accountability from government was during the military. Now that we have quote and unquote progressives in government, we have seen a reenactment
of everything they fought against. These same people.
Yes, I'm with you.
Hold on, please. Let me help you a little, because this is what I'm also seeing here. That according to the charge sheet marked, you have all their code there.
Yeah.
That's the federal capital, the
federal
high court, and all of that. He said the accused face serious allegations, including treason, attempts to destabilize the country, intimidation of the president, and destruction of some government properties in Kano.
Well, Victor, Femi Falana SCN, respected senior advocate of Nigeria, has captured it all, that the consistent use of the word treason on peaceful protesters, on protesters at all, because again, the issue of peaceful or not
is a relative interpretation.
There was a protest, it was called #EndBadGovernance. Some people call it #EndHunger, protest. Whatever it is, these are people who felt that within their rights, they have a right to protest, to speak truth to power. And now there are 100 of them. It's only 10. It's like in batches. It's not as if there are 10. They have about 100 Nigerians who are still being held by the security operatives on these same allegations. It was only about 10 that was presented, and they are still having their day in court. So we are not really going to talk about the entire process. Of course, their lawyers have been trying to,
get them out,
get them on bail. But I will say this, like I said earlier in the morning, even one of the very good friends of the president had advised him on how to handle this issue of the protest and hardship in the land. Whether we like it or not, there's no way the government would argue that there's untold hardship in the country as we speak. They can, and that's the reason why, what we have now, the current situation of the country now, what palliative can solve the problem now? Or even alleviate the suffering? Where we are now, with fuel at between 8.95 and 1,000, 1,002 per liter, is there any palliative? Is there any palliative?
That can even make anything better.
That can even lead to address the issue a little. Is there any rice they can share now? Okay, you know that CNG, that one you see there, CNG or no CNG. Yeah, that one. So, but the question here is this: it depends on the legacy that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, wants to leave after his tenure as president. Because whether we like it or not, he can only be president for only 2 terms, maximum 8 years.
Yes.
And like you're about to say, Kotaba Sheleni or Otonloma Dilola. We are talking about Abacha today, and we are remembering how he.
You understand that?
You understand that? Whatever Abacha did for his 5 years as head of state.
That's what we're remembering him for.
What if like I always tell people, for a lot of people who some of us never really lived through the Awolowo era. Yeah, we saw a part of it and did more reading about how he was able to impact the Southwest and the entire Nigerian political landscape. What he did,
we're still making reference.
That's why some of us are happy to call ourselves Aois. Not by the amount of money he was able to amass. Not that because he was able to become president. He tried and never became president. But whether you like it or not, his impact positively
It's still being felt.
It's still being felt. And that's why some of us that never really lived through his period are happy to call ourselves Aois. His philosophy, his orientation, his details, and his interest in the well-being of the people is the reason why some of us continue to associate
with his
ideologies. So, from how Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu, came in 1992, senator later, tried to become governor, eventually the Nadeco era, fighting the military, helping, becoming one of the quote-unquote progressives to all of the things he has done, becoming governor in Lagos, now president. This is the ultimate really for him, because after president, what was left?
Nothing else. You
Nothing
go
else.
back home and rest.
He's attained
This is the height.
the height of it all.
This is the
peak of it all.
professorship of politics.
And do you know what Okoyemi? Whatever happens after he becomes president will be more about what he did as president than even before he became president.
I mean, this is the peak.
This is
This
it,
one
really.
would either overshadow every good he's done or consume all of the things he's ever done.
So it depends really about.
And I hope you understand that.
This is a direct statement to the president now, because I assume that some of the supporters, like somebody just posted, one of the most difficult people to advise are political supporters, sports supporters, and religious supporters.
Leave them.
So I'm hoping that if there's anybody that the president wants to listen to, it should at least be his friend, President Wole Soyinka, who told him just after the protest that, look, you address the nation but refuse to address critical issues
Raised by the protesters.
And that he is shocked and disappointed that you never even spoke about the high-handedness of the security operatives on the peaceful protesters. And Baba capped it up by saying that, oh, my dear friend, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, people cannot be demanding bread from you, and you give them what? Bullets. So that will be my analysis on this particular one.
They said palliatives is a relieving symptoms without dealing with the cause of the condition.
I've always
it's paper over cracks.
Paper over cracks, really. You're not solving any
You're
problem.
not solving it.
Temporary.
He does not even address. It's not even temporary.
It's not even temporary.
It's just for you to drink water and cool down.
And the problem remains with you.
You wake up tomorrow morning
with your problem.
You moved into an apartment and you saw that the walls should be applicable in Nigeria.
Even to a human being.
It's not.
Because you're not solving anything.
But do you know my problem with this
It's not.
with these palliative issues? We still have lots of Nigerians that all they are looking for is that palliative.
Because that's what you reduce Nigerians
when
to.
they get that, they don't say anything against the government.
Wait. You always said it. When you weaponize poverty to a particular level, there's a way you weaponize poverty and illiteracy to a level.
Okay.
That people will begin to embrace their own pain. That's what they call trauma bonding, where you see somebody inflicting pain on you,
and
you keep loving the person. You begin to love your pain. Psychologically, look at what happened to the Chibok girls. Very unfortunate. You know that it got to a point. The people that kidnapped them, raped the girls, impregnated them. At a stage when they wanted to rescue the girls, they
said they're not going anywhere.
Some Nigerians have been reduced to the point where they are now in love with their oppressors. It's a psychological thing. They don't know. They will be the ones to even defend their oppressors. So you get to the point where trauma, pain, gets into your brain that you now begin to love the people inflicting pain on you. It's trauma bonding. No human being should get to that level. But look, psychologically, leaders can weaponize poverty to the point where people begin to think like that. They begin to love their oppressors. They begin to love their pain, rationalize and defend it.
Crazy.
Let me quickly read what Udeng's Radiri, who was the candidate of the Labour Party in Bayelsa State in the 2023 governorship election, said when he appeared in an interview He said, just the headline, and the headline here says that Nigerian politicians weaponize poverty.
Well, I think we don't. Again, when you have a country that has all of the God-given resources, Victor, look at the arable land we have. You go around the country, you see greenery. I've crisscrossed the land of Turkey, at least one of the most successful 20% of it in the land of Turkey. But these are people who are able to feed themselves. I told a few friends that, look, they've killed hunger in that country. You might not be able to buy a car, or you might not be able to build a house, but you can't wake up and say, I don't have what to eat. And that's not just in Turkey. Several other countries to understand that, look, there are 3 basic things of life. Forget about every other thing. Food, number 1.
Shelter.
Clothes and shelter.
You have clothes.
But food is the most important one.
It is the primary.
That's why Yoruba say, but when you reduce to people to the point where they wake up in the day, they don't even know where the
next meal.
The next meal is coming from. They begin to think this
People
way.
now ration meal. People eat around 4 p.m. so that I could take them through to the next day.
So when you get
How
to
do
the
you
point,
reduce people to that level?
People will now come and say, some countries, how much are they buying fuel in this? I've had friends who will tell you that, look, they have communities abroad where there's a day they give to you, just go and take whatever you like. I have a friend who gave birth recently, to a baby in Canada, and he said that, look, the things, number 1, the whole delivery process, an immigrant was free, complete. The wife
and then
the
gift they got.
No.
Like from antenatal to delivery, free as an immigrant, free.
No, don't.
Then after delivering the baby, that the gifts they got and took home with the baby. And that every other thing, the way they check on the baby and everything is so when
it wasn't as if the baby was born on New Year Day or
that's
just
just
that
that
the way we do here
bed.
when somebody is giving birth
And
on
the
a
funny
day.
part of all of this is somebody
Interesting.
listening to us right now would tell us that we shouldn't compare ourselves to developed countries.
Oh,
Side
really?
far, let's pick the call.
Okay.
Let's go straight down.
Thank you so much. In case you're wondering, what are these guys doing here? And I'm sure you'll be wondering again, you guys have been talking for so long. Take a listen to this.
To bring numbers and read them correctly. It's more difficult.
The general elections in 2023 have created conversations and consequences that will live with us for years to come. From the executive to the judiciary, legislature, media, and the people, organized labor, and civil society organizations, issues that will continue to shape the future of our country needs continuous probing and interrogation.
I see the greater objective for the party. And let me tell you, I've told the PDP in some locations that, gentlemen, be careful. Better men have founded parties that have gone into oblivion. Where's the party of Awolowo? Where's the party of Azikwe? Where's PRP of Rimi? Political parties must be nurtured. They must be reinvented. They must be true to
Join
their own
Okoyemi Akinyode and Said Fuad on Midweek Politics every Wednesday 1 to 3 p.m. on Mainland 98.3 FM for thought-provoking conversations, voices from the top, engaging interviews, in-depth analysis on all matters around politics, policies, and governance. Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3 FM, bringing the right perspectives to everything politics.
Thank you very much for staying with us. We get to do these every Wednesdays from 1 to 3 p.m. There's Victor Achibong, there's Said Fuad, and I'm here, Okoyemi Akinyode, and it's time for us to take your calls and your contribution. We've said a lot of things on the show today. We've talked about the decision of the federal government to, temporarily move the control, center down into the heart of the bandits. So the chief of defense staff and the minister of state for defense have decided to move to Sokoto to face the bandits. And somebody asked a very important question on Facebook, and I'm sure Victor will take that question. We'll also talk about the decision of the government to charge 10 protesters with tracing. And I really worry about that. And I really like the perspective of, Side Forward on that. If a system that you benefited from, I always say it, I'm not sure there's any Nigerian now living or maybe dead that can ride into this democracy. Remember the Occupy Nigeria protest of 2012. The Save Nigeria group, the likes of, Pastor Tony Bakare, the immediate past governor of Kaduna State, Madam Nasir El-Rufai, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Dino Melays of this world, they took advantage of that situation and they protested the removal of subsidy. Look at where we are right now. What they were protesting then was 65 naira. Now we're buying petrol for 1,100 naira per liter. If you're worried, I think I am as well. But it's time for you to join the conversation. Which of the Facebook where we're streaming live, facebook.com/mainland, Twitter @mainland FM. Now you can call us 0913-600-0 or 0913-600-0. Victor, maybe you want to start off with the messages on Facebook so that we can spend a lot of time on the phone calls.
All right, it's not a bad idea at all. All right, well, let's start with this one here, coming from Muhammad Ali. He says, keep up the fabulous work. Thank you. Why did Dangote say it was the Federal Executive Council that will fix the price of the PMS? Why not say coming from John Bernardo-E, and he's also requesting for answer. Good afternoon, distinguished gentlemen in the studio. Mr. Fuad, please, you guys should help me with the calculator, or with this calculator, because it's not who are they owing and how did they incur the debt. What about the 3.3 trillion naira profits they made? Mr. Akweyemi, for the first time in my life, I saw Nigerians begging to buy petrol from black markets or black marketers here, 7,000 naira. That's 1,400 naira per liter. And we were rushing to buy it. Is it not an eyesore that Nigerians were practically begging to buy fuel, even at exorbitant price, from a generator to pump water for the entire compound where I am living? It is shame. It is a shame, really. This is coming from James Ogbonna from Oshodi. Sheun Olota says, if they really wanted to take fight to the bandit, trying to say, to flush them from the inner roads along Kogi, Abuja Road, Katsina, Niger, Nasarawa and Co. Please, second base, Jare. Thank you very much for that one. John is also bringing another message here. He says, how can bandits overpower our own military in our own territory? This shows that the morale of our troop is low. This is a military that used to do well outside this country when they are on foreign mission. I'll take one more before we go to the phone lines, and I'm pretty sure Miami is ready for that. Now, this is coming from Atonda Kayode Samuel. He says, well done, guys. Nigerians, President Tinubu is going through a system that himself is afraid to take proper and possible actions against. Well, against different vices within the government. Quite unfortunate that the major recognized actors of insurgents are the principal of the regime, except we are fooling ourselves. It's plain and point blank. Like you said, how was the issue of Wadume ended? Clean, clear, not yet born? Well, okay, said clean, clear. The beautiful ones are not yet born. We're being ruled by the theory of evolution of the worst ruling the best. Okay, our guy at Gala is wearing jersey 45. Which one is that one? Okay, that's a Victor Sime conversation. Oh, all right, okay. That's coming from Sport. Okay,
let's pick some calls. 0913-600-0410. Please let us be very brief with our conversation or our contribution with the calls. 0913-600-0410. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Mainland FM.
Hello?
Mr. Laiwola, you're welcome.
Yeah. You see, the development concern Dangote refinery. This is the best news Nigeria can have at this moment, 1999 to this time. Before we know that everything in this difficult the time of APC, because the government plan from the time of Buhari down to the Tinubu, we know that since that 2015 to this time, Nigeria already achieved what they have been looking for since 1999. Before 1997, 1996, our refinery cannot produce anything. Now we have a new, from 2015 to this time, We have refineries that can produce something, and it can also earn Nigeria a foreign currency like dollar or in any form of foreign currency in the whole world. And we can also increase our GDP in different way in terms of our economic growth. The second part of it may be difficult at this moment, but the time when all the policies are put in place, everything that is difficult, that is the world leader that is leading the best of this country, they will come and appreciating how the plan of the APC being for the nation is.
Thank you, Mr. Olaiwola.
That is my own thing this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Please, I'm going to limit the calls to 1 minute. After 1 minute, I would have to take you off. Please, let's just stick to that. Hello, Obi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Fuad, I agree to now.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Fuad, I want to ask you one question, honest question, please. If you are given an appointment as ISA on media in this government, will you take it? One.
I'm not looking for a job, actually. I'm happy with what I'm doing. Does that answer your question? I'm not looking for a job. I'm happy with what I'm doing.
You be paid 1 million naira. Because I don't know how you are going to. And I have a very good news for APC apologies, people that support. I had a dream where the president, the senators, and the legislators of APC instruction were, dispensing fuel free of charge. You're wearing agbada, and my dream cannot fail me.
Okay.
So they should have hope.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Obi.
This is your dream.
Obi, this is your sarcasm. I don't know, maybe it's sarcasm or his dream. I don't know. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Well, good. Good afternoon. Good to have you.
Yeah, this is Muhammad Abbas from Ikeja.
You're welcome.
Muhammad Abbas.
Yeah, this is the, honestly speaking, this democracy is a problem. It's problematic. For us, it's a disaster in Nigeria, democracy. I am old enough to witness 2 or 3 military administration in Nigeria. I think they are far, far better. But the argument is always that they used to say that the best military government is the worst military democracy is better than the best military regime. Wallahi, it's unfortunate that we have gotten to this level. There's nothing like that. Honestly, this is ridiculous. We cannot continue like this. We can't even take it. But for us, inshallah, we'll keep praying. Allah Almighty Allah will take them out of this before 2027. Inshallah. Something must happen.
Thank you.
This man is just pure wicked.
Thank you. I mean, there's nothing we can do.
We call for decorum. We say this is a public space, and again, for a regime change of any kind, it's a democracy. People have to wait 2027 to cast your votes for who you like you as your next leader.
Thank you very much, James Ogbona. We already took your message on Facebook, so we just leave it here. The other time I contributed to your program saying the only way the masses of Nigerians can tell the government that Nigerians are not slaves of our rulers is that we want to know what is going on in the oil industries to boycott the filling stations. Fuad replied that how would Nigerians get to that place of work now that NNPC has hijacked Dangote refinery, leaving our own refinery is not functional? If Dangote is allowed to sell direct to Nigerians, 1, our daily consumption will be known. 2, the price of PMS pump price would automatically reduce. 3, reduction in importation of PMS. The above are conspiracies behind the hijack. Who is to protect the masses from the continuous dying of hunger? The president of NLC is okay. I won't take that, but thank you very much, Stephen Akimbi Sola from Ijegun, Lagos. Iyabo from Bagada says the APC, a party that led, sponsored, and benefited from several protests against bad governance, now makes protest against its own bad governance a treasonable act. Now pump price had increased. They should continue with their deceit. They should caution Wike that is suffering from verbal diarrhea to call him to order, or else we charge him. Mr. Fuad should not let his morale low with the situation of this country. God bless Nigeria. Nobody has morale self. Ralph from Satellite Time is talking to us, and he says, good afternoon, guys. In the studio, the Tinubu government is using the word treason for granted. That is the word they use against whoever tries to challenge this government. We protest the arrest. We talk, they arrest. We come out, they kill. What exactly do they want us to do now? They make petrol, artificial cars, and boom, they increase the price, and we can't see anything. That is Ralph from Satellite Town.
When Labour also shut down the national grid, the word treason was also used.
It was used. It was used against them. AʀᴄဃɪԲᴏᴜ from Yanopaja says, from the bird's eyes view of the Nigerian situation, I've come to the conclusion that we must start thinking beyond the immediate pains from current problems and resist the tyranny of our urgencies. Nearly all of what we're experiencing now are fruit of negligence planted over the years, and we cannot realistically wish the consequences away. While doing our best now to pressure the federal government into questioning some of these measures, the more important subject we need to conscious is unbundling Nigeria, popularly called restructuring. Until and unless Nigeria is meaningfully decentralized and functionally structured, we might stay very long on this road. Thank you very much, AʀᴄဃɪԲᴏ from Yanopaja. Okay. Taiwo from Abulegba says, there's unity in Nigeria. The people are queuing up to buy petrol at 8.55 and above without fighting each other. Other religious, tribal, and ethnicity and political parties. No one is telling other that your parents are not from the same tribe, or you cannot speak your dialect, or someone does not have a spouse, or you do not have a child. I just didn't want us to talk about that particular issue. The video of the senator representing Edo North Senatorial District, the former governor of Edo State, former national chairman of the APC, calling someone childless on video, on an interview. That's pathetic. Okay.
Strategy.
I mean, it's too petty, Victor. It is petty. This one says, okay, the phone lines are not okay. You can try now. It's connecting. You can try now. I blame my parents for giving birth to me in this country. Can you imagine that the kind of trek that I trekked yesterday? It is not easy. May God bless us. This is Matthew from Bariga. You can't blame your parent too. Prince from Ojo says, please, apologies if I say this. You do not read my messages in full most times. Why? Okay, apologies. Maybe the part of your message became, not radio friendly. Anyway, since we're talking education today. Okay, no, that was yesterday. Okay. We didn't talk about education today. This one says, it is on record that the military defense moved to Maiduguri during Buhari tenure. Who ordered them to leave? On NNPC still in charge of Dangote product is get money to settle cabals and Chinese people so that they would not come and take over Nigeria due to sukuk debts, just like the way they've impounded our jets. Ifeanyi Asese is texting us. So we've picked quite a lot of calls. I think we should, we've read some messages. Now let's pick some calls.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to have you join us today.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Malam Salah.
Malam Salah, 1 minute. Let's get it done.
Okay. Okay. See, my take is on this on security. Anybody will tell you that there will be solution to this security. Just telling you, he's telling lies. I am a northerner. I'm from Northeast. The compromise in that security sector so much. Ogafort, you can imagine a traditional ruler, a military man, conniving with bandits and criminals. Those who meant to protect 200,000 bribes from bandits, and they came to the town and killed about 30 people. You can imagine, to tell you how bad it is. You understand?
No, with you.
Just recently, August, you understand? An armorer, a military armorer, conniving, collecting arms from military armorer to supply to
bandits,
to criminals. So tell me, if not because of time, I will give you one story. Sometime, look, one of the past presidents, I can't mention his name, sir. Some time ago, a young guy was recruited to Nigerian army. They reported there. They were trained for about 3 months. It's a 6-month training. They trained for 3 months, sir. 3 months. And in military, first, second, third month is drilling, weapon handling and co. Do you know that from nowhere, an exodus was just dropped into the depot with young men from other part of this country that they are the candidate of first lady. They call those guys and they tell them that they should go. They don't
Thank
need
you.
them again. After
they've done
send
3
them for
months
2 months,
drilling.
3 months training, and those guys assured them if they come there before they left that they will go and join Boko Haram.
Oh.
So now tell me, and somebody now is telling me, this chief of defense staff, this very chief of defense staff, was theater commander of Operation National Lafia Dole before he promoted. You understand? So, but when he took over, he was thorough. Why? Because he saw the body language. How can you have a government that for more than 1 year you never have National Security Council, only one?
Thank
How
you.
can you have a government that have no any military officer?
Thank you
from
very
your
much.
NSA down to the minister.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Please, I'm just
to give that extra minute.
yes. I don't like cutting collars off. Prince Wise,
If you give me that,
you said?
if you give me the 5 minutes, I go happy.
Okay.
Can I begin to talk?
Please go on, Prince Wise.
I think that's why me.
Prince Wise, we're struggling to hear
Very,
you.
very bad.
Let me kill my position because when they fire or me to I'm home with you, I pardon my job.
Oh, yeah.
So can you hear me now?
Yes,
Better
I
now.
think it's better now.
I'm keen on this petrol matter. I think why NF is buying over what the Dangote produce is that there must be arrangement between them and Dangote. But I want them to tell Nigeria how much they buy a liter from Dangote. And Dangote himself want to tell Nigeria this amount I'm selling for them. Nigeria should know about it. But then the same will not go to Mr. President to tell Nigeria how much are you going to pay as a substance or what did he call it, as a subsidy as you know. They may call their own intervention, they may call it any name. But because if they allow them to sell to individual, if they sell to the marketer at least of 1,000 naira or 1,002, because when you go to the market today, no total subsidies are taken away from the diesel, from kerosene. So if we don't sell as we wish, it will be around 1,000 plus.
Thank you, Prince
I
Wise.
know. And this amount has to pay subsidy. Let us know
Thank
how
you.
much subsidy are they paying.
Thank you,
on
Prince
behalf of
Wise.
Nigeria.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Good
much.
afternoon to you too. Thank you very much. We pick a couple of more calls and then Victor would read some of our messages. Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Oh,
Good afternoon,
good to have
sir.
you join us.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Fuad.
Good afternoon. Yes, we can hear you.
We're struggling too. Please try and call us back 09136000410. Pastor Ambrose is also trying to call. Okay, I hope we're lucky this time
Good
around.
afternoon. How are you?
We're very good.
Fuad, you don't forget me, oh. There is God, oh, Fuad.
You know, Nigeria has taken us to a level that
Is taking us to where we don't know?
we're almost forgetting ourselves.
More like mind your business.
Good afternoon, Victor.
Good afternoon, Pastor Ambrose.
Let me start by saying, before, when Buhari came in, I think he made fuel at 97 naira, if I'm correct, and he left it at 180. Look at the margin now, 180 to 855 naira, and we are still counting. And this president is behaving as if nothing is happening. He's in China enjoying himself. I thought we had seen it all until we saw this man. Now, my issue is this, which people are not talking about. I keep on saying subsidy is just naira devaluation. That's why Ope will come and tell us that in Ghana, fuel is cheap. They come to Nigeria because the naira continues to weaken. Why is it only our naira? Why is it that our naira cannot regain strength? All over the world, the thing keep on crashing. Other currencies are appreciating. It's only the naira. What is responsible? Who is responsible? We know. We have said it. I started saying it before that government agency. The problem is once they give them allocation, they just convert into dollar. These people, the dollar they have, they can buy a whole Nigeria with it for this politician. So for me, if they don't find a way for the dollar to be strengthened, I am telling you, the dollar will continue to crash.
Thank you very much, Pastor Ambrose.
And we will still go round and round and round again.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pastor Ambrose. 0913-600-0410. You're live on mainland 98.3 FM. Let me have your thoughts. Ooh. Hello, good afternoon.
My name is Ajibola calling from Mikola.
Mr. Ajibola from Mikola, straight to the point.
I am very straight to the point. I said something, Fuad. Mr. Fuad should be there. I said something maybe like 2-3 more weeks ago. I said, when the crisis between NNPC and Dangote then, I said, all good for Dangote because I don't trust him in the first place. Now, see this lying now. Just beginning of the whole scenario now, we can now see that they have lied us. Everybody was crying for Dangote then. Dangote must work. The refinery must do this. I said one thing. Dangote product has never paid us in this nation.
Are you serious
now,
about that?
Again. Yes, Dangote product. Okay, the cement. How much are we buying the cement? Has it paid us? Okay, Dangote spaghetti and all those things. Has it paid us? What's the benefit you are getting from him? Now, to now see this thing again, he now went to go and collide again with the same government that has been frustrating him to see keep on frustrating the whole Nigeria. This is absurd. All the things that you said, they are all tied together. Both the security, the treasonable offense, everything is tied together because they are in the table of all the politicians that you are saying.
Thank you.
If they have good political will, all these 3 things will be solved. God bless this nation.
Thank you, and God bless you too. Victor. Okay, let me pick this call. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Please, you're live on show.
Live on mainland.
Good afternoon.
Your name and location, please.
That's why I know that.
Go ahead.
I'm seeking for. Sunday is my name from Ikorodu.
Mr. Tunde from Ikorodu, please straight to the point.
Now, I want to get clear. We all know the issue of people being put on trial for the protest. The real planner, the reorganizer, those who actually organize the hunger strike, how many of them are put on trial now? Because we know before the protest, DSS, police, they continue, exercising fear that this protest will be hijacked. Some people are planning with foreign collaboration. People are there before the protest, and now the protest happened. The real organizer, when the Congress, NSC chairman, was advising the government to dialogue with the organizer of the strike, they refused to show up. And our election was defending that they would not show up because they would not want to be compromised. They refused to come up and dialogue according to the advice of the NSC. They didn't dialogue. They didn't come out. We didn't know them. Now, up to now, after the protest now, it's our election already declared wanted. It's not on trial. The real planners, those who are planning a different thing, they are the ones to come the disaster. I cannot, unless I don't know if there's any of these organizers or the real planner of this hunger, the real strike that concern people. Is there anyone on trial? Is there any journalist? Is there any radio station presenter?
Sorry.
In detention?
I would no. Before we let you go. Sorry. Before we let you go, are journalists supposed to be on trial? What?
No. When we are saying government is what most of the houses are doing now, they can't do it only the military DC now. It's because of them.
Interesting. What exactly does democracy give us, if not free speech? Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Mr. Lakunle. Good to have you on the show.
Yeah, the last time I checked, Dangote spent about $20 billion in getting his 560,000 barrel per day refinery. If anybody thinks that is a joke, probably you need to go and get money and put it into the business to understand what they go through. Dangote is not about your friend or your enemy. It's about interest and ensuring that he sells his good. He's not running a friendly government. He is running business. If you need to buy product for him, you pay for what it is worth. NNPC clearly is still subsidizing price, and that's why they are the sole buyers from them. What they have simply done is to take what they used to pay as subsidy and push part of it back to Nigeria. And that's why we have moved from 568 to about 855 presently. And that's what they are just simply doing. And I've always asked myself, what really are we doing when the people in the rural areas are paying over 1.2 and 1.3? And truly we understand that the price of fuel presently now is between 1,280 and 300. So what are we really subsidizing? The problem that this fuel matter is causing us is endless. Let's remove this subsidy and move on for crisis. So we can face the what's it called? The floating of the naira, which is the biggest bait.
I was hoping to engage you in the morning, but yes, I wanted to engage you for just a few minutes. Hello, yes, Mr. Lakunle. So
I'm listening.
So do we all agree now that the denial of the government and NPC that there was no subsidy was just all lies? That actually subsidy had always been on the table, really. We have always been paying subsidy.
We have just been using semantics.
So we agree that they've been paying subsidy.
Underemployment. No, that's the fact.
Okay.
They have been paying subsidy.
Do you also agree, sir, that the twin policy of removing subsidy and floating the naira was also a problem?
Let me quickly say this, sir. In any economic model you decide to take, there's always the good, the bad, and the ugly. Anytime you remove fuel, anytime you float the naira, you will have tumbling manufacturing problems. You will have crashing issues with your economy. But if you are able to rough through it and ensure that you are able to make gains off it to push it up, it might become better. And it takes a longer time. However, presently, it's looking as if it's not working because we have lost
not working. Let's agree that it's not working.
We've lost income. So, well, it's a function of how we look at it. But the real question is that can the people still wait? Because I'm telling you how I look at it. But the fact of it is that can the people still wait to see the end of it? Considering that what we have gone through now
wait till when? And what are we waiting for, really? What would you say people should wait for?
You can't really. What they are waiting for is stabilization. To understand that once you continue to push your export, as we have moved on now in a bit, but the problem is that it's not even showing, because as they are pumping more dollars into it to ensure that the market stabilizes, the naira is not gaining. So whichever way we look at it, the policy is basically not working, and nobody is ready to wait for 3-4 years before all these things work. So for me, as a supporter, I have said it and I'll continue to say it. It's probably we just go back better, peg this naira at probably 1,000 and allow this fuel float around 800 to 900 and get off this thing and begin to.
Thank you, Mr. Lakunle.
All right, thank you.
I had to allow that conversation to go because of the exchange of ideas. Victor, I think you need to quickly visit Facebook.
Yes,
you have a lot of messages
I'm right
there.
Here with it. I'm right here. I think what Olakunle was simply asking is, can Nigerians still endure any further hardship?
No. I think because again there was no time really. He said the policy is not working, and how can Nigerians wait for a policy that is not working?
Not working for another 3 to 4 years.
If it's working, Nigerians are patient people. Well, the reality is that the twin policy has become problematic.
You are correct. Side forward. Nigerians are really patient. Nigerians are. Anyway, Anya Sunday Stefano is saying, it's quite unfortunate that we found ourselves in this precarious situation, a situation where protesters are charged with treason and felony. I tell you, we are far from practicing democracy, and that is coming from Anya. Jonathan Martin, to be great, is saying this government have popularized Nigerians more. Why must we be happy that Dangote have started refining PMS? Is Dangote ready to sell at cheaper rates? Wouldn't Dangote prefer to export the PMS because of the exchange rates? I think these governments failed since the 2023, since May 29, 2023, when he said subsidy is gone. To me, This government will not do anything meaningful for Nigerians. See, the 2027 era is over. When is government come to an end? That's Toby Great speaking there via Facebook. Adebayo Samson Adewumi says, good afternoon. Life is a seed. What our president sowed in 2012 at Ojota is coming back to hurt him really bad. He thought he knows it all, but he is there now and he cannot do anything. The system has swallowed him up. Okay? Obiora Ezechukwu says today they have weaponized poverty to the extent if you protest, you will be charged for treason. Nigeria, I hail thee. Christopher Efyong is saying, good afternoon, everyone in the studio. Mainland FM, God bless you all. Amen. I just hope that these present politicians will not set this country, Nigeria, on fire. Let them save this country from collapse. President Tinubu should know that Nigeria is bigger than any individual. Dangote has gone back to join them. Has joined them. Nigeria, you are on your own. Dangote refinery is more private. It's more of a private company. It suddenly belonged to. Okay, all right. Putting all of that together, Kaba, Mafia, Cartel, Nigeria, take care of yourselves. God bless Nigeria. That's coming from Christopher.
Thank you very much. Stephen from Egbeda says, on the fall issue, I always knew that it talks about Dangote being a monopolist was because they wanted to blackmail him into controlling the market. They sold the NNPC Limited Retail to a family member of the president, and now, they want him to control the distribution of the product. They even increased the price of the product just when he's about to take over. It is a privatization of public asset. On the security, it is very funny how the security agencies fight criminality.
No product. You are talking, and only you now want to monopolize the sales of that product, preventing other